Good morning, my friends, and welcome to worship. I'm so happy to see you all today. Oh, cold all of a sudden, didn't it? Yes. Yeah. Welcome into this warm space. Take a deep breath, or as deep as your masks will allow. Let it out. And then if your feet reach the floor, you put them on the floor. And if they don't, settle back into your chair. Feel the back of it holding you up. Just feel planted here. And then take your hands. Maybe they're cold. Maybe you are one of these people with warm hands. But take notice of your fingers and then rub your hands together. And face them down toward the floor, which is sitting on God's good and holy earth. And feel that energy going from your hands into the earth and from the earth back to you. And then I invite you to take those same hands and hold them in front of you, palms facing towards you, in a gesture that in this part of the world is often accompanied by the word Haichka, which means thank you. Haichka. And so we say thank you for the people who have lived on this land from time immemorial. The Halkominam speaking peoples, where we are where the Cowichan and the Malahat peoples meet. And we say thank you that we get to spend time in the unfolding story of this land. And then you can do a little picture frame, send a little blessing, send a little love, send love to the camera. See God's beloved community gathered here this morning. Then my favorite, give yourself a big hug. God's beloved creature, thank you for being here today. Amen. Please join me in the call to worship that's printed in our bulletins. In God's house, we can be joyful. We can be grateful. We can be hopeful. In God's house, we can be weary. We can be anxious. We can be grieving. In God's house we can be honest, inspired or tired, delighted or doubtful, connected or curious, and everything in between. This is God's house, and you are welcome exactly how you are. Let us worship our loving God. Invite our candlelighters to come forward. Oh, not you. I'm so sorry, my friends. What I'm doing it this time. Come here. Are you okay to give it up?
No, but sure.
No!
No, but
Yes,
yes,
you
ready.
ready?
Here, you need.
Are you sure you're okay with it?
Well, yeah.
All right, come here, my friends. Come here.
And another one.
Come here. All right, impromptu.
Drop these off to me when you
Grandmas, thank you so much. All right, come here, go on the microphone. Come here. All right, so how about Rachel and Nadine? You can be number one. And Bridget and Emily, you can be number two. But you gotta read into the microphone. So you gotta come over here. Here, so, right, no, here. Okay, so there's one and two. Okay, so, yeah, Rachel and Nadine, let's say one. And then you two girls do the big long number two. And then Rachel and Nadine with the number one. Figure out like that. Okay, I'm gonna hold this. So together.
How does a weary world hope? By telling stories of hope, by lighting candles in the night, and planting seeds in the winter that will bloom in the spring. By praying for children as they grow, and picking up trash on the sidewalk, by insisting that small acts make a difference. There are a million ways to picture hope. So today we light the candle of hope as we remember and
As a reminder and a charge.
Light with God's help, may we bring hope into a weary world.
Beautiful, thank you. Emily, you want to try a green candle? You want to try? Yeah. So there's a green candle lighter and any of the purple ones. Do you want to do it? See this way down, push forward. And then go back. Forward and then back. While you're pulling it down. And then come closer and you'll let me do the purple. Stay seated as we sing number 7 in Voices United, just the first verse, Hope is a Star. And hang on to those books and let's turn to Psalm 80, which is 794 in the back, Psalm 80. And we're going to do this responsibly. Eve is going to play the musical refrain for us once, then we'll sing it through once, just so we know what we're singing. And then we're just going to do part 1. We're going to do part 1 or part 2, I can't remember now. Let me look. I'll do both. No, no, we're gonna do part two. We're gonna do part two. Okay, let's sing it. So I double check the bulletin. We're gonna do part one. I will read the light colored words, if you read the dark colored words. And when we get to the little R, that's refrain, and we'll sing the piece that we just practiced. All right. Shepherd of Israel, hear us. You who made Joseph like a flock, you who are enthroned amidst the cherubim. Shine forth before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh.
Stir up the light, come and save us.
God of hosts, how long will you be angry with your people's prayer?
You have fed us with the bread of weeping, and given us tears plenty to drink.
You have made a mockery of us to our neighbors.
And our enemies laugh us to scorn.
Let your hand rest on the one at your right hand, on the one you have made strong for yourself.
And then we will never forsake you. Give us life, and we will call on your name.
You were hiding behind the pillar, so I couldn't give you the key. To 23. Which one will, 1, 2, no, my glasses on, I can give you a good information. To 23.
Oh, right, okay, thanks. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto thee in order, most excellent Theophilus, that thou mightest know the certainty of those things, wherein thou hast been instructed. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias, one of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. And they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before God in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord, standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. I'll turn 2 pages over. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. And Zacharias said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is well stricken in years. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. And the people waited for Zacharias, and marvelled that he tarried so long in the temple. And when he came out, he could not speak unto them, and they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple. For he beckoned unto them, and remained speechless. And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house.
Let's sing. Please stand if you feel comfortable. And we'll sing number 5 in the hardback Voices United. All earth is waiting. So our theme for the season of Advent is, how does a weary world rejoice? The folks at Sanctified Art announced that this would be their Advent resource back in August, and it immediately struck us. Do you know what Christmas carol that line was crafted from?
Oh, holy night.
Oh, holy night, the love of the weary world rejoices. I love so much about this, but the thing that I love the best is the tension that's held between weariness and joy or rejoicing. And we often think of tension, like stress, as a bad thing. Tension headache, or tension between people or groups who disagree. But tension, it's so necessary for so many things. There needs to be the right amount of tension in a belayer's rope to keep someone climbing up a climbing wall or a high ropes course safe. Suspension bridges are held in place by a combination of tension and compression in balance with each other. And it's the tension between soap and water and air that makes a bubble. So I appreciate the idea of weariness in the world and the joy that we celebrate at Christmas with the birth of Jesus being held in tension as a beautiful thing. Something that names that we can hold both realities, weariness and joyfulness at the same time. How does a weary world rejoice? And so we start our Advent season with the invitation to acknowledge our weariness. Weary. It's a beautiful word, weary. And it sums up this huge feeling. To be weary, it's different than being tired or exhausted. It has a gravitas, a weightiness to it that carries a heavy load. You're weary because you've been tired for too long, weighed down for too long, despairing for too long, and yet, despite the tiredness or the weight or the despair, you find a way to put one foot in front of the other, doing all the mundane and necessary things to get through the day. Weary. What's making you feel weary? It's been a time, hasn't it? COVID, wars, protests. People seem angry all the time. We were talking during the Thursday devotional study, we were talking about the rage that seems to be in every driver we encounter on the roads. And someone asked, how can we ever hope to end wars if we can't even be kind to the person in the next car to us? I've stopped listening to the news at all now because my heart, it can't bear the onslaught of the heartbreaking news every day. Lutheran pastor Nadia Bolz-Weber wrote back in 2021, I just do not think our psyches were developed to hold, feel, respond to everything coming at them right now. Every tragedy, injustice, sorrow, and natural disaster happening to every human across the entire planet in real time, every minute of the day. The human heart and spirit were developed to be able to hold and feel and respond to any tragedy or injustice or sorrow or natural disaster that was happening in our village. In our village, not the whole world. And she wrote this back in 2021 before Putin began his war on Ukraine, before the battle between Israel and Hamas that is decimating innocent victims in and around Gaza. It's no wonder I'm feeling weary. So I was really intrigued by the scripture reading from Luke that was chosen for this week. We're taking a break from the lectionary for this series. And so we're getting the story of Zechariah and the temple. Good old Zechariah. He doesn't get much love, does he? He doesn't get much mention at all in the Nativity story. We hear all about Mary and Joseph and shepherds and angels and wise ones. Zechariah's wife, Elizabeth, she gets mentioned. Gabriel tells Mary that her cousin, in her old age, has conceived a son. Plus, Mary goes to visit Elizabeth. And even his unborn baby gets a mention when he leaps for joy in Elizabeth's womb, hearing Mary's greeting. But poor old weary Zechariah, we really don't pay attention to him. He's a priest and he's doing all the things that he's supposed to do. I think that's why I identify with him. All the little ritual duties that come with his role. And he gets chosen by Lot to go into the inner sanctuary and light the incense when Gabriel shows up with that familiar greeting, "Do not be afraid." Do not be afraid. Angels always start with "do not be afraid" before delivering news that will turn the world upside down. You know, you're talking to an angel, they start with "do not be afraid." Do not be afraid. Your wife, Elizabeth, is pregnant. Zechariah doesn't believe right away, and he wants reassurance for good reason. And he's struck mute. He can't say a word until the baby is born. And this is where I love this story for our theme of weariness and rejoicing. The silence, not as punishment, but as space. Now, I am not the kind of person who longs for silence. I don't really like silence. I always turn on the radio, I talk to the dog, I talk to myself, I listen to podcasts of the bird or the wind. The idea of a silent retreat is my personal definition of hell. And I've told that to Nan and Marie. But this year, this time, this season of the year and of life, I'm feeling the idea of space, of time, of rest, of pause to consider, to breathe. I'm feeling all of that in the gift of silence for Zechariah. So we are actually starting Advent a week early. Officially, the first day of Advent is next Sunday, December 3rd. But that means that Advent 4 is on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. And we will have 2 services that day, one at our usual Sunday morning 10 a.m. and one in the 7 p.m. And I wanted to focus on Christmas Eve that day. But still, use all 4 weeks of the Advent resource. So like many other clergy and churches, I am not alone in this, we are beginning a week early. And it's not that odd. The Celtic and Orthodox churches, they have a 40-day Advent to mirror the 40 days of Lent. So they actually started on November 15th. On Thursday, the Advent study, we explored the idea that the blessing of this extra time and extra space was. What would you do with an extra week? Advent is a season of waiting, of preparing. And we have a whole extra week to prepare ourselves for the birth of Jesus. And we took some time to think about how we want to feel at the end of the Advent and Christmas season. How do you want to feel? And we wrote that on the center of a piece of paper. How do you want to feel at the end of Advent and Christmas? Calm? Loved? Rested? Joyful? Peace-filled? So we wrote that down in the center, and then we wrote down all the little feeling things that we can do for our mind, for our bodies, for our hearts, for our souls, to nurture that feeling, to be intentional about achieving it. And so I like the idea of using the story of Zechariah's silence as a time to be intentional. Reverend Mary Austin writes, "If Zechariah's silence is not punishment, but a chance to take in what God is doing, do you have similar silences in your life, in your congregation's life? Our lives are filled with words, but there are things that can only happen in silence. And how do we separate the silence of injustice and complacency from fruitful, birth-giving silence?" So I believe that finding the space and the time to figure out what makes us weary is the first step toward alleviating that weariness. We can identify what we can control and what we can change. And we can identify ways to cope with the things that we can't change. A podcast I was listening to on health and mindfulness was talking about the idea of time confetti. Tiny little moments of time, like 5 or 10 minutes throughout the day, that you can intentionally choose to do something that will either nourish your body or your mind or your heart or your spirit, or do something that will not. Like taking 10 minutes to sit down with a cup of tea and just drink it. Not scrolling, not multitasking, but mindfully enjoying the moment of quiet, the taste of the tea, the feel of the sun on your face, or the comfiness of the chair. And I really loved that idea because it feels like addressing the weariness in tiny little bits, little confetti bits. Not going away for a prayer retreat or a 2-month holiday or reading the entire Bible, but little, tiny things that nourish the soul to rest from the weariness. And the speaker called it looking for the glimmer, the little glimmer of hope, of rest, of love, sprinkled like confetti throughout the day, the week, your life. So that's what we can do with this extra week of Advent. What I see in the gift of silence for Zechariah. Be intentional about looking for the glimmers of joy that alleviate the weariness. So I invite you to do the same exercise that we did on Thursday. Think about, how do you want to feel at the end of Advent and Christmas? And write that down in the middle of a piece of paper. And then write down around that word or symbol or picture or doodle little things, little tiny things you can do to nourish your body, your soul, your heart. Little pieces of time confetti that will help you get to that feeling by the end of Advent. And remember the world has been weary before. The world has been weary and full of fear and war and tyrants and injustice and anger before. And it was into just a weary time as this that joy crept in an unexpected place, in an unexpected time, whispered first to unexpected people. Some who delighted, some who pondered, some who needed a time of silence to take it all in. Joy crept in, and that weary world rejoiced. That is what we're preparing for this Advent season. Thanks be to God. We're going to sing, and we're going to pass the offering. So we're going to stay seated. And we're going to sing number 20. Do we know this one?
Yeah.
We know this one. So we're going to sing this one. God is still here. Please join me in the affirmation of faith that's printed in the bulletin. We believe in a God who hears our prayers, who knows the shape and form of our weariness. We believe in a God who wants joy and delight for us, not just survival and existence. We believe in a God who looks ahead, who is not done dreaming for the world. A God who sends hope in the form of people and change, movements and spirit. And so we return to this space. We bring our joy and our weariness like two sides of the same coin, and we trust that God is already at work. Yes, we believe in a God who hears our prayers. Thanks be to God for a love like that. Amen. Now let's continue in prayer. Please pray with me. Gracious God, you carry us through our days. You know every word on our tongue, every hair on our head. You know the dreams in our hearts and the weight of our bones. You also know the weariness we bring with us into this morning and into this space. So with honesty, we come before you both with hearts full of gratitude and with prayer requests on our lips. First, Holy God, we thank you for the gifts of this life that give energy. For birthday candles and sunrises, for handwritten cards and jobs we are passionate about, for stories that can make us laugh until we cry, for friends that feel like family. For all these things that we offer to you in the silence of our hearts. Oh God, hear our prayers, and in your love answer. In addition to these prayers of gratitude, loving God, we also bring you the things that weigh heavy on our hearts. For gun violence, for family and friends who are living with illness, for seasons of transition and grief that won't let us go. We ask for your attention. We ask for your love and care. We offer to you the prayers of our hearts that are weighty and weary. Oh God, hear our prayers. And as we enter into this new Advent season, a season marked with joy, hope, and light, we ask that you would remind us that our full humanity is welcome here. There is room for both joy and grief. There is room for weariness and awe. There is room for faith and doubt. For nothing is too big or too far gone for your love to reach in. So, with hope in our hearts, we unite our voices once more to pray the words that your Son taught us to pray, saying together, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. life and work of the congregation. Who's got announcements? There's a lot going on. Come on up, my friends. This week, oh my goodness, this week. Should we start with today?
Sure.
Sure. Let's go chronologically.
Let's do it chronologically.
All right.
Today after church, we will have sing-along rehearsal. I'm really happy to say that we have now had a local conductor come forward, and she's going to step in to conduct the choir. So on the day, I'm not choiring and soloing. So next week, if you come to rehearsal, you will be Sue, who's going to be our choir person. This afternoon, the Artistry and Outreach Project that Sylvan supported finishes. They've done their round of care homes through the valley. Today is their very last performance at Duncan United, if you wanted to come and hear what Sylvan has supported. It's about a 50-minute concert, and it has classic favorites like the Barcarolle or Ave Verum Corpus, mixed with like pop favorites like Summer Over the Rainbow and Moon River. Next weekend, Children's Christmas Choir, which we are very happy to say our teen choir is coming to perform at too. So if you want to support 6-year-olds, and if you want to support 16-year-olds, the whole gamut will be there.
I think we have like 4-year-olds. The junior choir is very
They're
enthusiastic.
very teeny. If you want to hear Deck the Halls with screamed falalas, this would be the event for you. And then, yeah, Messiah, if you haven't got your tickets yet, that's December 17th. We're having a grand time bashing through it. If you want to join the sing-along, it's not too late. If you want to sit back and enjoy some candlelight soloist work, get your tickets from the office or online.
And the Cowichan Vocal Collective. If that wasn't enough, the Cowichan Vocal Collective, who are an a cappella ensemble, who are amazing.
Yes.
They are
Standing
really
ovations every time
Yeah.
they come to Sylvan.
Yeah, they're extraordinary. They're here on Friday at 7.
I think so.
They're here Friday, what does it say on the paper? 7, Friday at 7. So Friday at 7.
And we don't have to get tickets for that, we just show up.
Just show up, it's by donation.
All right.
And this is a fundraising, they're a group that get together specifically for fundraising, and they are mostly fundraising for Cowichan Hospice this time, and some money for us as well, So Friday night is the Cowichan Vocal Collective. Who's behind me?
Everyone.
Henry, everyone, okay. I'm gonna just say right now, there's a purple handout in the back. Jenny, can you hold yours up? Yeah, so that, it's all written down there, or it's mostly written down there. So grab that. All right, Henry.
It's that time of year again, for anyone who uses envelopes for offering. The ones for 2024 are outside, so pick it up as you're leaving. They're all labeled with your name on them. Thank you.
Good morning. I guess you notice there's a few changes around here, as in the swag. Our old friend Dorothy Levitt bought this swag in Vancouver years ago, and we use it at Christmas and Easter, or we're starting to again. I think it's wonderful, and just a thanks to Dorothy, who's been a member here for years and years. Also, the Smitten Tree is up. There's already all kinds of stuff on it. I'm very, very happy with all the socks. So all these socks, toques, mittens, scarves, other things too, will all go to the food bank, and they're collected there after Christmas, and they're used for next year. And last year I told you a story about a woman who goes to the food bank regularly, and that's where she gets her Christmas presents. And it might be a new pair of socks or hat, you know, a toque or something like that. It's an important thing to do. So please bring your socks and mittens. The sign down at the road, that's up too, which advertises our Christmas tea. And does everybody know when the Christmas tea is?
December 2nd.
When is that?
Saturday.
Oh my goodness, yes. Saturday. So 2 to 4, $10 at the door, or you can get your tickets from Judy Van right over there. And after church, tea with sandwiches and goodies and mince pies. A bake sale as well with all kinds of stuff to take home. Good music. We'll have a piano player here, a young student who's playing Christmas carols. I think that's it. Let Judy know if you have any baking to sell or to donate to the tea itself. And we'll see you on Saturday, I hope.
Hi, Connie from Outreach. So regarding our angel gifts, we got our matches, but I still have the availability of one more person to sign up to give an angel gift. So let me know afterwards. And Grace, I've got your match, so I've got 2 of them. Yeah. Okay, so secondly, Outreach is putting on the second part of our addictions, homelessness, all that kind of thing. We did a little 2-part series. So December 8th, so the Friday night after the Christmas tea, we have part 2. We've got some really interesting guest panelists to be here. So Reverend Greg Dorges, who used to be at Cedars for something like 10 years as their chaplain, is coming. We've got a couple of people from the Meals on the Ground program at Duncan United. And we've got a really interesting lady named Cindy Lees, who heads up our couch and community. And so she'll be able to bring all sorts of interesting parts to the puzzle. Homelessness, providing homes. I'm just really looking forward to hearing all the things that she's been involved with. So this is, it's really interesting. It's going to be more about the people that are helping out right here in our Duncan community. So I hope you can come for that.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Okay, Beth asked me to do this, and it actually looks quite urgent because there is not a single name on this list. And there are the December dates for readers, prayer leaders, and greeters, and candle lighters, as well as the coffee hosts. So I will bring this over to for coffee, and somewhat, I'm sure it will be filled soon. Thank you.
FireSmart came to my house, which is kind of not really church related. And apparently holly is very flammable. So we cut down my holly tree. And I have some holly here, and I can bring more holly if anybody wants it, but I've got some holly and also some cedar in the back of my little car. So if you would like some holly, I have this church full of holly right now. Thank you.
My name's Akela. That's as leader of the Cub Scouts. Doing in chronological order. So December the 9th, at starting at 9 till 1, the First Cobble Hill Scouts will be selling Christmas trees in Shawnigan Village. So if you're looking for a real tree and you can wait, which is gobsmacking to me, but if you can wait all the way till December the 9th, we'll have lots of nice trees available.
Yes, Jane.
The precious.
The creches.
Oh, yes.
Joan, when do you want the creches?
Well, right now.
Now, if you have a nativity scene, a creche, I have a Playmobil one that I used to bring over. If you've got one that you can set up, and set them up around in the windows, then you're surrounded by the nativity, and that is for the tea on Saturday. So you can bring them by the office, you can bring them to Joan, you can bring them to the tarts on Thursday. But yeah, so it just looked quite wonderful. And I'm gonna be like pedantic and say the wise ones don't show up till Epiphany, so I put the wise ones out in the narthex there. We're gonna move them around and see how long they can take to get here. All right, what else? Anything else?
Actually, Grace,
Yes, Judy.
on the 17th, as you know, the Messiah will be here, the singers and the concert will be here.
Yeah.
But there is a group of young players in
Yes.
an orchestra that need to be fed. Now, we do have soup going already, and we do have cornbread going, but is there maybe somebody who could make maybe a real nice dessert.
So this is with the Victoria Baroque Youth Ensemble who are coming up to not only get set up, do sound check, play for the sing-along Chaos, and then play for the actual performance. So it's a long day for them, yeah.
So if you can give me a hand by making a dessert for these young people, very talented young people, please let me know. Oh, one. Oh, how many? 8, 15?
We have, I think, 20 people who need to be fed. It'll be 10 in the youth orchestra and then probably 10 adults between the soloists, the conductors, all of that jazz.
Minister. So are we done? All right, so we've got, good, all right. Anything else? May God's blessing be on all of the life and work of this community and congregation. Let's sing number 2 in Voices United. Come, thou long expected Jesus. Beloved community, as you leave this place, you go into a weary world. So speak tenderly. Do the good that is yours to do. Choose connection. Hold on to hope. And remember that Christ took on flesh for you. You are God's beloved. So go rejoicing, because the world needs it. As you go, may God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God look on you with kindness and bring you peace.